Episode of Bobby J on 30A. I'm your co-host, Chris Angell, here with your host, who's handsome as ever with that beard. Look at that beard, Bobby J. Come on.
How are you, Chris?
Look at that thing.
I know. I've never done this before. And I'm trying to match you. And, and it's actually really, really itchy. So I don't know how you guys, when does that go away?
I think some of it is length, and then I think some of it is like just having it on your face for a while, and then your face becomes numb to it.
Wow. Well, I think maybe this will fit for my, I have one announcement, so probably this show is a little bit out there, but I got a phone call today. You're not going to believe this.
Yeah.
This is on the other surprise I have coming for you, right? My oldest daughter told me I was going to be a grandfather today. So.
Hey, yeah, congratulations.
What?
That's awesome.
Yeah. I know. I was really shocked.
Hey.
A lot of the other, as this has gone along the ways with other friends and all that, I was always a really early dad. I had when I was 18, I thought I'd be a grandfather by now. I really wasn't ready either.
Oh.
So, I kind of just recently was like, you know what, maybe I am about ready for that.
And then bam, there it is. You get the news.
They have been, and when it's, what's really bizarre though, is to, call or text your son-in-law and tell him congratulations. It's kind of weird for knocking your daughter up, like, I don't know, how does that even
yeah, I know.
I even asked him, I said, is this weird? Or he said, it is a little awkward.
Yeah, I'm not there yet. My daughter's 12, my son's 14. So that would be really weird at this point. But.
Well, that is going to lead into the show then,
Okay.
I have been, we've been doing these videos for a little while, these blogs for a little while. And I just realized the other day I was watching, I was on Facebook and I saw a live feed go by and I saw you talking about something. And I realized I had been doing this for you for a little while and I had not interviewed you yet. And I didn't even, my people are asking, who is Chris Angell?
Who is this?
So
I think magician?
The title of this show is going to be, who is Chris Angell? I feel like
nice.
We're getting to know each other a little bit, and somehow or another, in my own, I guess in my own arrogant way, I made it. It was all the Bobby J show, and
it is your show.
But it is my show. But at the same time, it's like you're a big part of it, and you're really good at it. And I'm learning from you, and I'm having to step out of self here. This is very uncomfortable for me to do, and. I'm really good on the phone, and then next thing you know, I'm looking at a camera, and it's getting real and legit, and a lot of people have said, "Thank God for that guy," because he kind of keeps you afloat, and that is very true. So we're gonna start with a few questions.
Okay, man, I'm in the hot seat. All right.
Just so everyone knows, this is Chris Angell on the hot sheet. And this is not planned. He did not know this was coming. So I told him I had a surprise today. So here we go. So we're going to just keep it rather simple.
I like
Chris, tell us a little bit about yourself as far as your briefly your career, like your family. I just learned you have 2 kids, 12 and 14. And where do you live? Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah.
This is the important stuff, right?
Yeah,
the rest of it's just all fluff. So tell me a little bit.
That's good, man. I've been married 18 years. Met my wife in college. Love her to death. She's my soulmate. She's an amazing woman. And we have 2 kids, 14 and 12. My son is 14. My daughter's 12. And I got into real estate at the age of 24. I didn't know what I wanted to do. I went in to get a master's in education out of college, but I was student teaching 6th graders and realized I hated 6th graders because they were mean. So I did not finish that program, got into real estate, not knowing what else I wanted to do. I had read Rich Dad Poor Dad. That's kind of what got me in there. I was like, I want to learn how to invest and build a business. Sold for 6.5 years and then became a CEO of a real estate company in Spokane, Washington.
Wow.
So I moved my family from just south of Seattle to Spokane. And I've been here ever since 2007. Ran that real estate company for 5 years and then started my own consulting company in 2011, because what I realized management and leadership pulled me in different directions than my unique abilities. I love to teach and I love to coach, like those 2 things, like to speak to a room and then to develop individuals. Those two things I love. And management just pulled me in different directions, like who stole paper from the copier and who wants what office, and just, BS like that. I was like, that's not what I want my life to be for. So that's a nutshell,
Wow.
Yeah.
So real quick, changing this thoughts. How's the weather out there? Is it cold?
Yeah, it's cold. We're like, today was 26, right?
We were in the 30s this morning.
Hey, that's cold for Florida, dude. That's cold. Yeah.
So what led you into like this podcasting thing that you've been developing?
Yeah.
How did you was it just an evolution or
a little bit,
but it was an accident? Like, it's kind of cool how it's played out. When I found you, I was like, wow, this is amazing that someone actually put this puzzle together for us.
Yeah. Well, when I was running that real estate company, I noticed that there were a lot of really authentic, sincere agents, human beings who wanted to help people. But when they put their marketing hat on, they got really confused. They felt small. They felt stupid. And I just thought marketing doesn't have to, marketing ultimately is just about making connections with people. And we make it all weird and stuff when we put our marketing hat on. Right. And I started thinking it shouldn't be this hard. It shouldn't be this hard. So in that season of life, I started developing my thoughts about marketing and how to be authentic and transparent in your marketing so that you made connections with people. And then when I left that and started my coaching company, that's really what I spent a lot of time doing in coaching, was teaching people how to do relationship-based, authentic marketing where they could be fully themselves. So instead of feeling like they were selling out, they could just totally be who they were in their marketing.
Wow.
But then I realized the people I was coaching, they bought in, but they didn't have the time or the technology acumen, right, to do what I was teaching them to do. They were like, hey, I love this, but I'm either too busy or I can't figure out all the technology. It changes too fast. And I'm like, and I wasn't a tech guy, but I had taught myself technology over 6 years of coaching. Mm-hmm. And I was like, I know what you need to do. And then I had this thought, I need to do it for them. That was the thought that started this agency, was I know what they need. I need to do this for them. I didn't want to do it for you. I did not want to do it because I'm like, this is going to require more of me than my cushy life I've been used to, right? I'm about to add a whole lot of moving parts. I'm going to have to add more people, but this is the right thing to do. And so I did it.
It really is. I think that oftentimes, for agents, one of the things that we struggle with is we're being thrown so many things of what to do, right?
Yep.
So they say when you start in real estate, your enthusiasm level's here,
yeah,
and your skill level's here, right?
Yeah.
And what happens is this, they switch. And one of the many reasons that I believe is that we're just throwing so many things, Zillow and Trulia and all of these things where really we need to get in front of people. I mean, I think that's the reality of this. And this tool that you've come up with, I mean, it really works. I think the first show, and I'm not, I think a lot of times people are confusing some of what I've been after for, views or likes or I'm not, I would be scared. I would be very unhappy if all of a sudden, 50 people reached out to me. I think for me, in one breath, right? And for me, it's more pinpointing, right? I email out our show, right? Mm-hmm. And what happens is when I email a regular thing out, well, they don't even reply, right? I email out a show where I'm on it. Next thing I know, the people that actually need me at that time, for whatever reason, I think the first show I got 3 listings.
Wow.
Emailing it out to, 3,500 people. Wow. And they really talked briefly about the show. I don't know that they watch it all the way through. I would love that they will. And I think with time they'll get more into it, but I'm also developing a library that is, right. It's actually a very brilliant idea that you came up with. Outside of that, hobbies. What are your hobbies? What do you like to do outside of?
Man, I feel like I've been in the business brain for so many years. There is something weird and sick about, I like business. So I do a lot of, when I'm not working in my agency, I'm over here tooling around with other business ideas. But I like to play golf. I probably play 2 or 3 times a year. I played competitively in college. So I would, travel around and play golf for my school.
Wow. Do your kids play any sports at all? Do your kids play?
No, they're not really. My son actually, we do what we call golf camp in the summer. So we'll go on once a week to the driving range, and then at the end of the summer, we'll go play around together.
Right. So you're a worker, sounds like, but I think like me, you also have developed, you like your work.
I like my work. Yeah. It is a self-expression for me, Yeah. It's a self-expression.
Tell me a little bit about the, like your live Facebook stuff that you were doing the other day. I saw that. Was that like, seems like you're always kind of trying to relay a message of some sort, a motto of some sort?
I think so.
Yeah. Tell me about that.
Well, I just think, I never know what my Facebook lives are going to be. Whenever I'm activated by something, whether it's a lesson in life or a book I read or something, I typically will, I only ever share on Facebook because I hope it serves somebody. Like, I don't need to go post on Facebook. I could just go live my life. But I feel like when you're in leadership, when you see yourself as a leader, you want to pass on any life lessons that could benefit others, So I don't know which one you saw. I had done a series, like a 6-part series on unhappiness.
I think I fell into somewhere in the middle of there and unhappy. Yeah.
I just, it's funny because I think it's good to throw yourself under the bus. I think, in December, I think I started that series on unhappiness where I just saw something for myself that for decades now, I've been unhappy. Like I've been unhappy. I'm like, there are circumstances that cause me to be happy, but if those circumstances go away, whether it's money or success or whatever, if that isn't there, I'm not present to that, then I start to go like, I'm bored in life. I don't like life right now. Life is not very happy for me, right? And that took some self-awareness to get access to that. Because what I was after was if I could be happy regardless of circumstance, right? If I had no possessions, if I had no money, if I had whatever, could I still be happy? And I think at that time in December, now it's, January at the time of this recording, I think the answer to that was no. I don't think I would say I'm happy. And I just trusted the process, and six episodes, 6 Facebook Lives into it. It was a couple weeks ago. I put the final touches on that lesson in for me, which was, I feel like I'm happy now. Thankfully, I'm happy now, but it's because I'm learning to surrender to, I call it the great unfolding, right? I'm learning to surrender to life and how it unfolds instead of trying to control things. And for 20 years, I've been trying to control my circumstance in life. And I'm learning to surrender to something bigger than myself.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And, yeah.
That's pretty brutally honest.
Yeah.
I didn't see that coming.
Yeah.
I will say one of my agents that helped me find you, his name's Eric Davis, and I do want to interview him soon
Yeah, we should talk to Eric.
Yeah, he helped me find you. He mentioned something about this. I think he follows you, and he mentioned something about a dark place, which actually, come to find out, looks like it wasn't a dark place. Kind of like it's like you're kind of being led a little bit to the light a little bit. But happiness is that's an interesting one. I always tell my favorite motto has always been "You are your choices," and I think that's a show coming up. By the way, we talk about that. But but I don't know. I definitely know where you're coming from. I've struggled with that from time to time, and it's it seems a tad selfish when we get to that place because we have the things and stuff and life is good, and that yet you're think you begin to realize like, wow, why am I unhappy? Then what is really being happy? And you delved into that pretty good on your Facebook page, you're saying, and there's a 6-part series that we could kind of explore, I suppose.
Yeah, if you just go back through my personal profile on Facebook, which is facebook.com/Chris.Angell, right? You could actually all my posts are public, so you just can go look through all my stuff, whether we're friends or not. But I think getting really comfortable with your shadow, getting really comfortable with the stuff you're afraid to look at is your access to power. Like until you're not afraid of what's in the shadows, you're always going to try to numb, medicate, play on top of what's under the surface. And so I think for years I've been good at going into the shadows. There's always lessons in the shadows,
Wow.
Yeah.
Do you, and you started this journey in this past December?
Well, I started noticing this unhappiness thing. Yeah. December 2018, just just a month ago. Right. Like maybe it was November, but I just noticed like, I was just off. I've always been a happy person. And this is the weird thing. Like, I think from the outside looking in, people would say, oh no, Chris Angell, he's a happy guy. Like he's a positive guy, always positive. And I think, people can confront or portray out here to the world what we want to see. And that doesn't always, it's not always the same thing as what's happening in our head or in our heart. Right.
Gosh, I can't even believe we're talking about this. I didn't see this coming. I mean, I know I've been right here for quite a while. I think part of this journey for me with this show is even that.
Yeah.
I'm in search of something that of course, people think, oh, it's a real estate show or whatever. But I think maybe we're both trying to find something along the way. And one way you do that, I think, is maybe getting in front of people and just being honest. Like that's brutally honest to tell people that you're unhappy, or and because, we do live in such a fake world in regards to, what's the first thing that I read, there's a book, it's about lying. And it says we lie to ourselves 8 times before we even leave the house.
Wow.
And one of those things, like even when you run into somebody in public, hey, how's it going? Doing great.
Mm-hmm.
We're doing great,
Right.
Reality is oftentimes we're not, but you can't really be that guy either,
Right.
Because people then don't want to be around you. And so you end up kind of just isolating and faking it. And it can be a really painful full way to live. I have found myself at times, I grew up in an area here where everyone knows me, but it's in regard, sometimes I feel really lonely.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm a very well-known lonely person, if you would. There's so much going on in here, and I have found that I can associate happiness sometimes with the people around me. I got to be really careful not to really isolate too much. Do you struggle with isolating at all?
Oh yeah, big time. I mean, I think part of that was, being a real estate agent was very lonely. Being in business can be very lonely. And I think I've just done that myself. I think there were some times in life where I felt burned by people. And so I shut people out. Let's say it this way, I put people on the outside. I only let people in that I wanted to let in, and I only let them in to the degree I wanted to let them in because I just didn't trust people. I mean, I was sick of people burning me. So I'm like, well, screw you. I'm not going to be burned by anybody. Watch this, right here. Hold my beer, right? I'm not going to be burned by anybody. And that's very lonely to cut people out.
Yes.
But I did.
So there's a, did I ever mention to you about that study that was done recently, or not recently, goodness. I discovered it recently. It was a study that they started in the 30s. And it's all, actually, you can go to YouTube and find it. And they studied, I think it was like 900 of these young men. And they've kind of followed them throughout their life. When they first started, they said, what makes success and happiness? And they all said money and fame, and a few of them had that. They had money and fame. One of them even became a president. There are 6 of them that are alive today. And the study is the longest study of man or women as we know it. Right.
Right. Wow.
And they, every month they did blood work. They just really followed these guys' lives. Right.
Wow.
Well, as it concludes, and now they're bringing in and studying their children and their children's children and whatnot, and the study continues. But do you know that the number one factor to the happiness was, instead of money and wealth, the people that lived a longer life was their social connections, their family, friends, and their life. The people that isolated. Not to scare you or anything myself. Well, I mean, I can isolate very quick. That they find that those that got around other people and basically kind of a tribe, if you would, seem to live a happier, longer life.
Yeah, that's really good, man. That's I could see that for sure. And I think I'm trying to find my way back to that. I think I've gotten pickier. Like if I think about my tribe, I've gotten pickier about who I want to hang out with. For me, like I know I like deep conversations. So if I'm going to hang out with somebody, I don't want to talk surfacey stuff. I want to talk about real stuff.
Wow.
And not
Wow.
everybody's willing to do that. So, I mean, I've sort of cut my friend pool by a big number.
It is kind of hard to get people, but then you're right. I mean, sometimes, you're all day long, you're just hitting the surface of stuff. Right. And then that maybe that's probably why we connected so well. I like to dig in a little bit, and try to uncover the truth, I guess, if you would, because within all that is the happy spot,
Absolutely.
No, what does your wife do for a living? Or
yeah,
does
she does inside sales for web.com. So people call in and renew their domain names, and she's there to answer their phone. She's amazing on the phone. She's incredible.
Wow. Yeah. And how long has she done that?
It's been like a year. Before that, she was a stay-at-home mom.
Okay. Yeah. And your kid, what are your kids' names?
Tyler is my son.
Okay.
Maya is my daughter. Maya.
Tyler and Mila. And now, what do they do while you're in a special area where they can't find you right now? How my kids are not here, right? So how do you keep it so quiet while you're doing it?
I know, right? Well, so normally they'd be at school. Today's MLK Day, Martin Luther King Jr. Day. So they're actually home. They're upstairs having, reading or doing homework. But
you're like in a little studio where you do this at?
Yeah, it's the home office right now.
I got to get one of those.
This is the home office.
I have to set this up all the time, and that's probably part of my problem when I'm trying to right when we're doing this is I'm trying to put it all together again.
Yeah.
So,
well,
awesome. Have you ever been to Florida?
I have been to Orlando for a conference, I want to say. So I've stayed in a hotel and walked across the street, but I haven't actually seen or experienced Florida.
Okay. Well, we are definitely in two different worlds, my friend.
I know.
I'm in the Northwest Florida part though. So I'm in the
You're in Central Time Zone.
It was in the 30s last night, like the water here people always talk about surfing in cold water. And I go, it gets down into the 50s here, mid 50s, it can get cold here. So as far as the water goes,
Right.
So,
yeah. That's chilly. Yeah. That's not warm. That's not warm.
Well, Chris, you're an amazing guy and you've got a great attitude. I appreciate your honesty.
Yeah.
And I look forward to these continued shows and learning more about you. And I think we're kind of fostering a pretty cool friendship as well. So
I think so too, man.
Who knows where this could end up?
I know, right? Well, you and I, when we started the show, one of the things you and I both said was like, it's not about real estate, but it is about real estate. I think part of when people get to this is what I saw when I was coaching people was like, when you have real conversations about life and humanity, it doesn't have to be about real estate, but people connect with you and go, I like how you see things, or I appreciate your transparency or something, right? And then from that comes another conversation about things. Like if I needed somebody to help me with a real estate transaction, I would want it to be somebody who was transparent and authentic and real, right?
Totally. I think it's the missing link. And if I could share this with any agent that's looking at it, be yourself, get in front of people and show them you. That's your skill set. I've been doing this for, around 20 years. So obviously I know how to do it. So that's the easy part, right?
Yeah.
But the problem sometimes with this business is, getting in front of people and letting them see the real you. And that's really what everyone's looking for,
Yeah, right.
They want to trust you. And the only way to trust you, you're not going to learn that on Zillow. One of the number one things that we always are trying to do is compete with this Zillow or Trulia and all of those things. Get in front of your clients and your friends and talk to them. We live in an area where we don't really have a chance to get in front of people. So that's a problem. There's a secondary market, right? Second homes and all that.
Right.
So,
yeah.
But you can do this. You can call them.
Right. Yeah. Or you can do this, like I think I think this is what's so smart about you is getting out in front of the industry, if you will, right? Where the real estate industry as a whole is still trying to compete with internet leads and other kinds of stuff. And I think where the appetite of the consumer has shifted now to, we don't want information, we want connection. Most Zillow leads are looking for information. And when you try to follow up with them, they're like, don't hound me. Don't call me. I didn't put my information on Zillow so you could call me. Yes. Most people just want connection. And I think you're getting ahead of that big time by doing a show like this. I think this is totally smart on your side.
I don't, and I appreciate that, but I honestly couldn't do it without you. So, and I didn't know that till I found you. So I thought about that I could do that without you. But then after I learned what we were actually doing, I was like, whoa, wait a minute. Yeah. Are you kidding me? So, yeah. Well, cool. I've got a property of the week.
Yeah, let's hear it, Dan. I want to hear this.
Got here. I just listed this amazing home in watercolor. I decided a while back that I wanted to start taking over, or not taking over. Boy, I wanted to start getting a market share of watercolor. There you go. Okay. And I'm making an intent to do that. And I think that if you focus on something, it will work out. So I've been getting some listings in watercolor, and this home is 139 Silver Laurel Way. It is in watercolor. It is 3 bedrooms, 3 baths, 2,025 square feet. It's in phase 1 of watercolor. So the funny thing about this home, I always love, like, everything is this little story, right? I'm wandering around this house and I cannot put my fingers on what the deal is, right? I just noticed there was something really unique and special about the home. There's a friend of mine that's an architect. His name is Tyler Doyne. And this kid, I like to call him kid because he's 3 years younger than me. This kid is very, very talented. He's an artist. Okay. So one of my dreams later on in life, when I finally get in my final home, is to have a Tyler Doyne. They're literally like owning a piece of art. Come to find out, he designed the home. I put it on Facebook, and there Tyler shows up, and I was like, wow, I knew there was something really special about it. So It's never been rented. It's in immaculate condition. And by the time this shows, it might not be here, though. That's how hot this one is. So hopefully, what I'll do is there'll be a link below. Also, you can go to 38localproperties.com. You can find the home there. You can find me there. My cell, of course, is 850-865-7798. I will link the property below, and I will also, if it's not available, there's a good chance this one won't be available by the time by the time this airs. So
yeah, that's cool though. I love it. I love that there's a neighborhood called Watercolor. That's
Isn't
awesome.
That crazy? This place. Awesome. So this is one of these developments too. I was one of the first agents in the development. This is why I got into real estate, was because of watercolor. And then I got mad. We were purchased. I was an Arvida St. Joe agent. We were purchased by Coldwell Banker. And I was upset, so I decided that I wasn't going to sell a property in watercolor anymore. Yeah. And they continued to sell without me, Chris. Can you imagine?
Can you imagine?
I don't know. I mean, who knew, right? So lo and behold, I missed out on this one. I probably would not be working today had I stayed within that watercolor frame of mind. I mean, there's literally 1,400 home sites in there. It's completely built out. They're in the $1 million and plus range. I was like one of the first agents to go to work there, and I got mad and decided not to be a part of it.
Wow, that's crazy. And look at you now.
Yeah, well, here we are. You know, Chris Angell and I, just a couple knuckleheads trying to figure out.
Right? Totally. Well, this was a fun twist today. I enjoyed being interviewed. I think that's one of the cool things, is being interviewed. And I love that I get to do that on most of our episodes. So until next time, Bobby, until next time when I get to interview you, thanks for your time today. Thanks for sharing.
Hey, thank you, Chris. Thanks for filling us in on you. And maybe I'll shave for the next one.
No, don't shave. Keep it. All right, man. Take care. Good stuff, Bobby. Bye.